I'm at the Sheromeda textiles market in the north of the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa. More than 100 shops sell traditional Ethiopian fabrics, scarves, shawls and clothing. But what you can't see is that most of the shops also sell products made by children. Child labour is one of Ethiopia's biggest problems. I've arranged to meet Gizacha Aika from the Ethiopian organisation Hope for Children. He shows me a fabric shop where nothing is produced by child labour. Gizachu, you brought me to this shop. What does child labour mean?
For children to be in the labour, it means that they almost spend all their time during the day working and making these kind of clothes, and they don't get payment out of that. And the children also they are not able to go to school because they are working the whole day. And not only that, also they are taken away from their parents, and they never had this relation. And all in all, being in child labor is a life which is dark and then without hope, and always working day and night.
Hope for Children tries to help them. Aika says an Ethiopian organisation is better equipped to do that than a foreign one.
We are an indigenous organization founded by Ethiopians, and also not only being Ethiopian but founded by those who have been through these kind of problems and born and grown up in these villages. Therefore the problem is so close to us. We can discuss and talk to the community and find out the possible solutions together. And we have an easy access also to get into the people who we are working, and that makes it easier for us to make a change.
Aika does need money from abroad, but he's ended partnerships where foreign donors try to have too much influence. I want to find out if this organisation can really be trusted under these strict conditions. Aika drives me to a meeting with a delegation from Germany. I want to observe how Hope for Children deals with foreign donors. There's a warm welcome for the guests from Germany. They're from a high school in Göttingen that supports Hope for Children with some €3,000 annually. But here too the message is that visits are welcome, but interference is not. School principal Jure Schek has no problem with that. He tells me that they are more than just donors. The school's pupils are here, visiting families and going into classrooms and doing joint projects with the local pupils. He says that means there's real intercultural learning from one another. Hope for Children works in the Entoto neighbourhood. The area's first public school was built here recently. Before, there was only the Hope for Children school, 2 stopgap solutions for just 150 children. The way the partners from Germany are greeted shows me that they are taken seriously. The welcome is well rehearsed, but done with a lot of joy. I'm surprised by all the optimism. No one asks whether the children are truly no longer forced to work, but Aika confesses they do indeed still work, but he thinks his organisation is doing things right.
We tell for the employers that if you send your children to school, they will get good education. And we started with 2 hours a day, and then we expanded for 4 hours. Now we have about 8 hours a day, which the children can come to school. Of course, the rest of the time they are working. All in all, if they don't go to school, they keep on working, this hard work, and their life will be dark.
For the school principal from Germany, first-hand impressions and the annual financial reports are enough to convince him. He says he thinks it's very helpful that the whole project is organised by Ethiopians. He thinks that foreigners would only disrupt the running of the school. From observing lessons and talking to teachers, I see what makes this school different from the public one. The classes are smaller, the teachers have more freedom in their lessons, and the children's tuition is paid for. We take a walk around Entoto. The neighborhood is one of the poorest in Addis Ababa. Some 47,000 people live here, and there's next to no access to education and healthcare for children. Eike takes us to a mud hut. 7 weaving looms stand in a small dark space. At 2 of them, children are working, including 16-year-old Seyum. Now I see where the fabric at the textiles market comes from. Seyum doesn't dare talk about his work. He spent his entire childhood working like this, as much as 16 hours a day, for a bit to eat and a place to sleep, says Eike.
Even though working is good, but without having a privilege as a child to play, to go to school, and to, you can just see how children are in the other part of the world. And all life is in this room with 20 people.
There is a chilly atmosphere. While filming the children, I ask who is forcing them to work. The question is not well received. Who are these boys working for?
They might be working one of the adults here, which we don't talk usually about that, and we don't ask them, but they call them their father or father of the house.
Now I understand why this man has sat stony-faced since we arrived. Gizachu Eike sits at one of the looms. He had to work like this as a child too, but he was able to get out and help other children. Seyum now works just a few hours and goes to school. When he's old enough, he'll be allowed to work as a free man. I'm convinced an international organization would not have found Seyum. And even if it had, I believe Ethiopians have a better chance of helping him. Eike has convinced me of that. It's meant to be a model for a similar but larger school in Entota that will accommodate more than 700 pupils. The Göttingen High School wants to help finance the project. And I notice something. The Germans only observe. They don't give any advice and are only active behind the scenes. Still, they're satisfied and have no doubts about the project. I ask Principal Juraszek if he thinks he's done the right thing. He says that as we look at all of this, he thinks he has. He saw this school before construction finished, and now it's full of life, just as they imagine the school they're planning will be. I ask if he has a good feeling about the partnership and the project. He says he does, because he sees that it all works and he's seen the children. The building is full and it's perfect. Gizachu Eike drives me up a hill on the outskirts of the city. Along the way, we see women carrying firewood into the valley. Many of them, too, are forced laborers. The view of Addis Ababa. I see a city and a country facing a lot of problems. But I also see that there are people trying to solve the problems on their own. So the model of helping people to help themselves can work, even though, or perhaps because, Hope for Children refuses outside interference.